So what we had completed, just I'll show it to you. I did a couple of design changes. That's I want to maintain the uniform coloring between all activities or fragments. Somehow I'm slightly inspired by the green. I mean, for this app, I hope, because I'm using that here and there. Action bar pretty. I'm not pretty comfortable with it being a very black. So that probably the last one I will be touching it, because when we take a simple colors theme like a green and some sort of gray background and white background for the text boxes, we'll have to continue the same across all the views, so that kind of user experience would be, at least would be quite professional. So the same user experience across all the views could be guaranteed. So this is where the list view is going to come, and when the user click on the compose, I added a title here because last one I haven't added because forgot actually. So I added a title on the compose one and the save button. I put the background white and made it as a group as I did in the registration page. So same design, same look and feel followed here. So which we already have a back and compose option. If you notice, couple of times I need to hit back to dismiss my screen. Instead of this one, where, remember, I gave the name for all my fragments so that I understand who's calling the get callback from fragment. So who's actually calling, I can get an idea like which fragment is being called, which fragment is calling this method. So there is one way to, this is actually reloading the list fragment. Yesterday I was talking about I can dismiss the existing fragment so that I can go back to another stack, go back a stack. So this particular fragment is already added to a backstack. Pop backstack, actually I was searching this method. This pop backstack will make sure the current fragment is removed and the previous one come into. So for example, the first fragment, as far as this activity, is nothing but the SMSList fragment. The very first fragment we loaded as soon as the activity is loaded. So this fragment is already found a place, and when the user click on the compose button, of course, of the particular fragment, the second fragment is going to be loaded, and accordingly we are going to go give an option to user go back an option. So for example, when a SMSList fragment sends a callback and this particular fragment loads, and SMS compose fragment try to hit the back button, all I need to simply call the pop backstack so that it will go back to a previous fragment. So this is a handy way instead of doing another instance, but in fact the pop stack backstack still does the previous equivalent one, which I replace certain code. The same thing it does, but simply it makes sure few lines being removed. Oh. The pop backstack will only work if you have the fragment is added to a backstack. Otherwise, there is no point, because the fragment does not know is there any fragments already loaded. It is aware of the stack. The main part we'll start working on it. 2 minutes. So hitting back, I can simply go back and get distance immediately, so that the recreation something it doesn't happen, so it works perfect. Okay, now we'll put the compose part into work. In fact, I had completed a couple of code already. So this is SMS compose fragment, which is also having a fragment connector instance, and it is checking, so it can send a callback to it. When the user click on when the user click on the save button, I'm going to check whether the compose and text field is not empty. So simply I had to do some sort of validation here, but at this point I simply check the number of text is greater than 0, not an empty one, that's all. So if this text is found, I open the database and insert the SMS reply, sending the text field and the compose field, and send it close. And in fact, I can also, once the save is being given, I can call the same, so that as soon as I click on save button, the view goes back to the previous fragment, gets dismissed. Since I tested, there may be a couple of records. I'll just probably want to clear my database. When you want to recreate your schema, you can simply increase the SMS version number so that the schema will be recreated, because this is how we have written. The SMS reply database contains a couple of utility methods, but the main one, the SMSDB open helper, contains a method called onUpgrade. Whenever the version changes, the new version is greater than the older version, it drops all the table and recreates the database. If you made some sort of errors or if something doesn't work, I would recommend simply increase the version. Otherwise, you can simply rename the database the way you want. So the schema will be recreated. Schema mean your table plan. So we call it schema mean typically how many table it contains and how the transaction being planned. So it depends on your schema design. You can either choose to drop the whole database and create a new one, or increase the version as you want. I kept it the SMS ID as underscore ID because I am planning to use a simple cursor adapter, which is very helpful to load the cursor data. So I changed the primary key to underscore ID. The previous code does not have it, I just updated. And a couple of correction also I did. The previous one did not have the comma, and comma was missing. So I corrected them and made the database working. Because of the last time I simply wrote it, I haven't tested. Now my database should insert the value, but before that we have to make sure the list appears so that we can display the content in the list view. So we need to see fragment SMSList. So what all the view it contains. Okay, it has a compose button and one list view. A list view, I need an ID of the list view. It's called SMSList view. Okay, so let me initialize it. Since I'm planning to use my SMSDB and that too a simple cursor adapter, I may need to have my database connection open throughout, because the cursor is going to make a connection. So on attach itself, I made sure my SMSDB connection is open and the database is getting closed on detach. Whenever the particular fragment is completely removed from an activity, database connection will also be closed. So before that, let me initialize my list view. We're going to use the cursor adapter, simple cursor adapter. Before that, I'm going to keep choice. So set choice mode, because only one message can be selected at a time, so that that particular message could be sent as automatic reply whenever the user makes a phone call or SMS. So that I need to tell the list view choice mode is single. And then comes simple, cursor adapter. Before having the simple cursor adapter, let us make a database connection. Get the cursor. Get all SMS replies. There is a method which I get a list of SMS reply which has been saved. In that, going to use them. Okay, it has one deprecated constructor as well. If you notice, strike tells this particular constructor is deprecated. You just need a flag There's no major change, but never mind, let us proceed. And the layout, uh, for time being, we'll use the default layout, which is Android template system provide us. So Android. Simple list item single choice is there from the initial days, and this is a perfect one for our application requirement because it's going to add a radio button along with a text view, sorry, list view. Let's see how it will look like. And then the cursor from, it's a string type, string. So the mapping starts from here. So which one you want to display? So it is already there in my SMSDB, SMS title. Title alone I'm going to display, not the entire text. Let the user click on long press and go ahead and edit. Only one, not the one other one. And the ID which you want to map. Okay, I need to know which ID because I don't have idea about the simple list item single choice, what kind of ID it is going to contain. We'll have to find it. You have to go to your Android SDK path. So if you notice, as far as my computer, Android SDK is located in this folder, and in that it's your Windows. I hope you most of the people have installed in D folder. I remember D drive. So as far as my computer, it is like this. And go to platforms. You can choose any platform. Latest one you can pick Android 21. Click on data and resource. There is a global resource. This is the template the Android comes with by default. These are all the template we can use in our application anywhere, either by copy pasting in your project or simply refer it android.r id or layout image whatever way or drawable whatever way. So in this I'm going to need a layout simple list item single choice. This is the one actually I'm calling here simple list item single choice. So I need to see what it is exactly. Let me open, let me copy that. And some sort of error though, but we just get an idea what it is exactly. It is some check text view. It's a specific text view which also attach what do you call a radio button or checkbox. So check mark, if you say choice indicator single mean a radio button will be added, or choice indicator multiple mean checkbox would be added. So it's a built-in one, but the problem with this, only one view is possible. You cannot create a custom view. If you really want the custom view, you need to create your own adapter and do the job accordingly. But right now we are using the existing template. So I'm just looking for an ID called, okay, this is containing an ID called @Android ID text 1. So this is the ID I need. I'm not going to need this, just wanted to know what's an ID. So the ID in this case is a global ID. What's that text one? See, I need to give a full path because it's a template from an Android resource. So Android dot just get prefixed, and the same way I'm accessing the text. So cursor adapter is ready, but still a deprecated one. But never mind. The last one would actually require some sort of flag called 0. Then that part will go away. But this would need a support of API level some 17 and above, I remember. But we can safely skip it if required. It doesn't make any sense at this point. So SMS list view, set adapter, simple cursor adapter. So this will display any content which is added to my list view. It is loading the content from the cursor and things going on. Let me see. Just getting message. Second, I need to respond to an SMS. Okay. So let us check how things goes on. We'll run the code, whether it will add the SMS reply compose title or what, something we'll see. Four. I compose a message. Meeting. Please call me back. Something. Okay, pretty good. So you notice the text got added here and has put a radio button so that we can set a selection if required. Let me add another one. Let me see. Oh. Work. Click here. All right. Something. Just compose. The second one got added in Office, and right now the meeting has been pushed because that order I given ascending or descending I remember in my database. So the latest one always find in the top position. I can keep adding the content. Something like what we come. Okay, so I can keep adding those contents and the list gets populated accordingly, and of course a nice margin, look and feel, everything we have given, and makes clear that uniform look and feel is maintained. So anytime I can change the choice so that the specific SMS could be sent if it is on. We have to put an on button somewhere in the action bar. We'll put it here. So I can as a whole I can turn off all the replies, or one specific reply could be sent as user has this option enabled. So the compose, and of course if I try to hit the blank it won't work. This is how we have made it. Add one more thing. this another one. So let's keep adding and things will extend accordingly. So we just made sure the content could be saved to a what you call a database, and it automatically updates the content. The simple cursor adapter seems to be perfect as the cursor gets changed, and it detects the changes and of course update the contents accordingly. And this is pretty easy, so I can come back, move between on any time. If I want to close my application, I can close it. So this is maybe the slowness of my emulator, but it easily can be closed. 1 2 3 4 anytime the user. Now we need to think about adding the selection persisted. That's the next part. We need to make sure the selection is also saved. Of course, I have already made a provision to my database to maintain the selection, but I don't want to get into too much detail at this point, because the next part we have to work on how to send the automatic reply. That's a crucial one. So far we are spending much time on the UI, but which is still good, because the UI design technique is very important as far as mobile application development. So somehow we are doing it pretty much more. So now we have to work on how to send the automatic reply using our broadcast receiver R service, and we have already made sure the compose and these things works. And let me synchronize with this one. So clicking add new also will display the particular button. Probably we can add one more thing here, home, so that the user can see the first screen always. So maybe options are there. You may keep it goes on changing a different fragment. You also give the user to load the default one. Okay, so slightly modify the UI. I'll attach one more, maybe moving this choice to so the first choice being home. I don't think I have icons. Something inspiration. What is this? I downloaded a couple of icons. Seriously, I don't have any idea relevant or not. Analytics. What is this? This has already been taken. Seems to be. Done 2 is also taken. Okay, slightly different. The one which is not being used. So when the user click on home button, we are going to load the same fragment, the first home fragment. The second one, the user will see the add new button or add new fragment, so he can go back. So let's see how you can put this into work. It's nothing but a list view here. So we already have the list view. What is that? Here it is. Already on item click listener is there, and the list view has got attached with that. So I know the index of it. Here it is. Position equal to 0. A switch case. There are multiple choices are there, so we'll put a switch case. Switch case is pretty efficient than the if else block. As I always say, like for loop, if you want to avoid better, you can avoid the for loop. Instead some other loop technique, iterator, you can use. Similarly for conditional statement, try to use switch if your condition is slightly bigger. That too is specifically based on the integer type, because switch will only check a specific time and route the control accordingly. Not like if statement will undergo all the checks, and that will slightly affect the performance. But this is a pretty simple application, so we don't need to worry much still. Case 0. Case 0 mean we are going to load the fragment, home fragment. It's been called, so I'll just make sure. Compose view. So reuse it. We'll have to do some sort of intelligent thing here also. If a backstack is present, we'll have to do a backstack, otherwise we'll see that if at all our design flow. Let the tester come into place and give us an idea what exactly goes on. That role we are going to take, of course. Compose back works, and also I can go through this way. So the compose box I can access through this way as well, or home I can come back. So either way the user can use it. Through this way he can use, or through this way. These things will be maintained. So we already synchronized a drawer layout, so which will load the specific fragments wherever required. Of course this can also be independently called through this box, and of course we can select a specific list, but we have to make sure the selection is also persisted. Of course it's persisting, but I need to do some sort of hooks to get the currently selected message to be saved, and then I can set the selection. If you have a time, you can do that. Otherwise, when I come back after a broadcast receiver part, a revisit of a broadcast receiver, I'll probably come back to this and have this part integrated, because the integration part again is going to come. So after this, I'll finish on the design part. The second part, I'll start from tomorrow. Why I stopped here itself mean I just want to make sure you guys complete up to this. The second part, we are going to see a small revisit on broadcast receiver and service again, but this time detecting the incoming call and the SMS. The last time we created our custom broadcast receiver, we did not see any reception or any kind of a broadcast receiving of a system specific one. Now tomorrow we are going to see that. And service, is there any option I can do a search in the phone book so that I can retrieve the caller identity, maybe phone number or whatever it is. I mean, sorry, first name or specific information if the particular number comes from the broadcast receiver. So that part we are going to see. And after that, we are going to see a simple example on map. Once we see them, we'll come here again, integrate it to our application. So till that time, this application is going to remain as it is. And we still need to attach the profile picture here, which has been already saved. The profile picture appears here. And instead of the application name, I want to display the user who actually registered, so his name may appear here. But these things we will do it. But at present, we at least achieved the application can now record your automatic replies and display in a list view, which can maintain a single selection. So this is pretty cool. In fact, in Android version 5.0, it will also look in the other versions, but slightly a different look and feel, but most of the part you can still achieve it. So that's it. I'll put them into website right away. What's the state? Like, how far you guys have completed?